content warning. If you are superstitious or even just a little stitious, you might want to set this one out. We're going to be talking about Annabelle. All right, guys, if you want to see this, great. If not, I will see you guys back in, the next video. No worries. And I will see you just a little bit. All right. Hi Crystal Balls, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for clicking on this video today. If this is your first time here, welcome. I hope that you enjoy it and stick around. I want to say thank you to my Patreons really quickly, and I also want to ask you guys a favor. Please, if you could hit the subscribe button for me, please, that would be wonderful. I'm trying to get to 1,000 subscribers, and I've been building up this channel for about a year or two now. It's taken me a long time, but I'm really hoping to get to that threshold, which means more lives for you guys. And what do you see on my lives? Readings. So you will have more and more chances to get readings from me on lives. It's just very difficult to do it on my computer. I can't see as well, yada yada. It's much easier to do on my phone. I can't do that until I have 1,000 subscribers. So if you guys are not subscribed yet, please do that. And if you are subscribed, please check and make sure that you still are, because YouTube has a habit of unsubscribing people. So thank you again. Again, take the warning seriously. This is kind of a spooky, scary skeleton type tale. We're talking about Annabelle, but we're also going to be doing a reading about her. So my question is Annabelle real? So if you guys don't know who Annabelle is, I'm not going to go into huge details behind her background, but if you want to skip ahead to the reading, I will put the link in the description box of when the reading starts, the time, okay? So Annabelle is from one of the spooky movies. I believe it's The Conjuring. I've never seen The Conjuring, nor do I want to. And I know Annabelle has some of her own movies. So while people think she looks like this, she actually looks like this. She is a Raggedy Ann doll. Now, Raggedy Ann dolls is something that was very huge in the late 70s and early 80s. She had her own storybooks. There's also a Raggedy Andy doll, which I believe has also been involved in this somehow. So Annabelle was a doll that was was received by 3 people. So I believe they got it at a flea market or a garage sale or something like that, brought it home and started having some experiences to the point where it was creepy. Eventually it got into some of the most famous paranormal people out there, Ed and Lorraine Warren. So they are some of the most respected paranormal investigators out there. Unfortunately, they both have passed on. And when I mean respected, there are a lot of people who are just as critical of them as they do respect them. There's that's a whole separate other reading, and maybe one day we'll talk about that. But right now we're talking about Annabelle. So Annabelle supposedly is something that is a very demonic, possessed doll, and she is currently held behind glass. You're not allowed to talk to her, I believe that's it, but you're not allowed to challenge her or pick her up or anything like that. She is in a glass container. And
say, is the Annabelle doll here?
And if I can find it, I'll put the photo up here, where she is surrounded by the Lord's Prayer and other sorts of prayers to kind of keep Annabelle there. So I'm not trying to actually read the Annabelle energy. I want to see through my guides, because we're not touching that with a 10-foot pole, if Annabelle is real or not. And I don't know. I don't know if things can actually possess or take over a animal, or not animal, oh my god, no, but take over a inanimate object is what I was trying to say. So if you guys are a little spooked out about that, then turn your dolls away right now. We're going to take a look. So sorry about Rosie in the background. She's being kind of annoying. I'm using the Haunted House deck which I use quite frequently. This is also a spooky, scary skeleton topic. I don't know why I like saying that so much right now, but I just went to Disneyland last week, so maybe that's why. So, my first question is going to be, who is Annabelle? All right. Yeah. Okay. Well, starting off, that looks like a ritual. That looks like, I mean, this is the Eight of Pentacles, and, I don't read typically like other people do, but this really does look like a ritual. Oh, let's see. Yeah. I do feel like the intention was to put someone's spirit in this doll. I think really it was the yuck. Okay, that's kind of scary. So, yes, I do really believe right now that there was some sort of ritual that happened in order to keep this doll going. I want to put this out here right away. This has nothing to do with voodoo or hoodoo, okay? I know a lot of people have gone to that conclusion, but it's not. This is actually somebody who was Christian based. So somebody who was probably Catholic. Yeah, that kind of backs it up for me. Yeah, this was somebody who did this doll curse, who was highly religious. Somebody who I would consider Catholic, but it wasn't a person putting a spirit into a doll as a form of getting rid of a possessed spirit around there. This was specifically done to a person to entrap them. Oh, why did I decide to do this? Okay, so the voodoo doll is an example here of one of the things that could be done. However, a true voodoo doll has nothing to do with harm. And I don't think a lot of people understand that unless you are in the voodoo world, especially the voodoo world, that the origins of a voodoo doll is not for harm, but for helping. And this again shows me that this, while had nothing to do with voodoo, very much somebody misappropriated what voodoo is, and they used, oh, it's giving me a headache. They used different sorts of cherry picked different sorts of things from religions and spirits and things like that in order to make this happen, make this transference of spirit. I don't even know if it's a spirit, to this doll. They felt like they were doing it in defense. But I also feel like this person did it blindly. So while the intentions behind this were sacrificial and insane, I think an insane person did this, and I don't mean that to be rude. I really mean that a person who was literally insane did this, because it was all over the place. It was cherry picking things. They didn't know what they were doing, but they did at the same time. Like, they were too smart for their own good, but too stupid to do it right, if that makes sense. I feel like the person who did this had a lot of things in their head, and maybe that's what Annabelle actually is, because I don't feel like Annabelle is a living person. I think she was a personality inside of somebody's head. Not quite going so far to call it DID. It wasn't like that. It was something much different, because DID don't always know dissociative identity disorder, formerly known as multiple personality disorder. That's not it. It's this is somebody who was sick, who literally was sick, and was hearing another voice in their head and personified it, therefore thought they could get rid of it. And this is what they did. This is like the most gross part of themselves that they evaporated out into space, and it was towards this doll. But I feel like there were more people involved. I feel like there was highly religious people involved in this, and they were stupid for doing this in the first place. Like, okay, yeah, I'm being mean here. Whoever did this was stupid as hell. Like low intelligence, but they thought they were doing things right. So I think the idea of Annabelle, the idea of the sacrifice, the whatever the case may be with this particular part of this person's personality, this person's mind, that they personified into an entity that they were able to reject from this person's body. It wasn't a being, it was. Mm, do you know how people believe in Santa Claus? Spoiler alert, Santa Claus isn't real. So people put a lot of power and thought into Santa Claus that you can actually create something out of nothing. If that means that it's the spirit of Christmas, or if there is somebody out there who personifies Santa Claus, or many people that personifies Santa Claus, it's because of the collective thoughts that are put into it. And you bring things alive, the more thoughts and more energy that you place into it. And something like Santa Claus is huge. It's a huge entity that people have created. There was no entity there before, but there is now. At the very least, it's the spirit of Christmas and people have picked up. So this is kind of the same thing with Annabelle. That there were people surrounding this genderless person who I can't tell you because they're switching between boy and girl, so I'm gonna say non-binary person, um, who, and don't take that the wrong way, like this is just what I'm getting. This person did not see themselves as male or female, and I don't want the story I'm telling you right now, have anything to do with your thoughts or feelings about non-binary people. Non-binary people are completely fine. This is just one particular instance, so I don't want anybody to go off the deep end with that. Cool. So this particular NB person had a lot of people around them who created this Annabelle, this spirit, this thing, and it was like they all fed into it. I think it was something minuscule to begin with that probably was something that could have been treated almost like alcoholism. But they kept feeding into it. They kept putting energy into it, and over and over again until Annabelle was an entity on its own, and they had to do something because they lost power of it. They didn't. I mean, again, there is some sort of sacrifice involved in this, some sort of ritual, but at the same time, the passing of Annabelle from person to doll was done in order to save this person and all of these people from situations happening created out of their energy. They created this. I know that's rambling as hell. Yeah, I feel like they're almost like burn it, burn it, burn it. I think they tried to bury it. I think they tried to do other things to this doll, but they couldn't get rid of it. So I think they just secretly left it, like got rid of it, and it passed through other people. It was very unfortunate that it left these people feeling empty. Bloodless is the word I'm getting. Bloodless. That's interesting. Um, it felt like a part of them had left, and it kind of did because they put so much energy into this thing. They helped birth it basically. But here is this bloodless feeling. Ugh. So when the Warrens got Annabelle after all of this stuff happened. I first want to ask, was any of that stuff with the original, quote unquote, original roommates and boyfriend real? There was some sort of holding hostage there, but I don't think it was as it seemed. I think there was already a circumstance, and I think it was the boyfriend that already had something evil or ill intentions already there. So I think what happened was Annabelle, this spirit, this entity, whatever it may be, picked up on already negative thoughts there and made it more realistic, made it more in your face. So I believe that the incidents there were real, but I believe they were real because there was already bad energy there. And I keep going back to the boyfriend on that. Like, I feel, yeah, I feel like the boyfriend was, this is the tower. I feel like the boyfriend was the destruction here. I feel like the boyfriend was very possessive over the girlfriend and the roommate, even. And I feel like he was so toxic for them. He should not have been in their space at all. And Annabelle started attacking him first, as far as I remember, or him the worst. I could be wrong about that. But she actually could have been doing this in a way to get rid of him, to save those girls. I just keep hearing it's not what it seems. So whatever happened with these two owners, the original quote unquote owners of Annabelle and the boyfriend, it's not the way it seems. So they got Annabelle. So the Warrens got Annabelle directly from them, as far as I remember. I could be wrong. It's been a hot minute since I've read the story about Annabelle. Um, but the Warrens claim some pretty big things happened to this doll, as far as car accidents and motorcycle accidents and people dying, and that's where I have a problem. I know it's weird that that's where I have a problem. But where is the tangible evidence that any of this happened? These people, the Warrens, were known for recording things and, being pretty good about things, but we're taking stories as the gospel truth, and that really bothers me. So, did the Warrens make up anything? So that reminds me of the car story. So there was, when they were bringing Annabelle home, apparently she started acting up in the back seat. But I almost wonder if that was where the story was conceived. Yeah, I wondered. So Ed Warren, I've always had a bad feeling about him. And again, I know a lot of people love and respect them. And I do believe that Ed and Lorraine Warren had some pretty interesting psychic abilities, especially Lorraine. I believe Lorraine's heart was good. I don't believe Ed's was. And this is just kind of backing it up with me. I think he was manipulating a situation. I feel like he was playing with magic. He was playing with something that he did not understand. Therefore, he made a mistake. Therefore, he helped create Annabelle. Yeah. I really feel like he created lore around her. Look what's illuminating around this girl. There's 8 pillars. These are wands. Again, magic. Yes, magic, real magic. Not, the crazy stunts that you see, real magic. He was definitely a person who understood what magic was. But it's like all of these lights are around her now. Annabelle, who's in her little cupboard, who's being illuminated at all times and has cover around her. I feel like this was a story that was made up, partially. So I believe that what I said before was true, but I believe the hype, the shit that happened after the Warrens took possession of this possessed doll, so to speak, was hype. Yeah. It's like the king on the crown. It's the king of pentacles here. This is all, oh, it's all about money. Ed Warren, man. Yeah, I know. There was some goodness in him. There was some goodness in Ed Warren, but he also, Almighty Dollar was a big thing to him. And he really wanted the story. The story sold. It got their names out there. It helped. It's one of those things. I really, really got this that they spun this Annabelle story. And again, I don't think Lorraine was involved in this. He spun the story to make it seem real and a lot more than what it was in order for them to get money. But the money was put back into their investigations and back into their museum and back into things that they did because they really did want to legitimize paranormal experiences and paranormal investigations and things like that. You know, he can't do that kind of stuff for free. There is a cost to it. They need more equipment. They need, you know, X, Y, and Z in order to keep their stuff going. So in order to do that, why not sell a white lie that turned out to become a huge lie and be able to still have their paranormal investigations going. And I feel like it was done like this, like, sure, here's a big circle. But Lorraine was kept in this little bubble inside the circle. So she didn't know. Because even though she was heavily psychic, she was not heavily psychic when it came to her husband. And that's not to be expected of anybody who is psychic. You truly aren't psychic with the people around you unless it is something big, like their death or something like that. Yeah. Yeah, I really feel like she was kind of kept in the corner. She really had a good soul. Um, and not that Ed's didn't shine. I can see it. I can see his his soul is shiny. It's good. He's in the good place, and so is Lorraine. And they both have big, beautiful, shiny souls. They're trying to tell me that again, everything's not as it seems. So I think, yeah, I think they are brighter people than what I realized. So that's something that's very eye-opening for me during this reading. But I really do I'm kind of coming to the conclusion that Annabelle's story was real to an extent, but the Warrens, specifically Ed, made it up bigger and made it up more, and maybe took a story of somebody who happened to be at their place who passed away. I don't think one has anything to do with the other. I don't think that Annabelle caused anybody's death. I don't think Annabelle was as bad as what everybody says they were. However, the energy that everybody is putting into this doll, the hype that has been made because of the Warrens, because of where they've placed her, and because she's in a haunted museum, and that guy from Ghost Adventures now owns the museum, I believe. I can't remember his name. This guy here. I feel like he owns it. I could be wrong, but his situation is even worse. So his energy is bad already, and he's pulling it down more. So there's more anger and evil towards Annabelle. So while in the beginning she wasn't as bad as what she is now, she was created to be that, or she was not created to be that way. She was forced into this because of the movies, because of the books, because of the documentaries, the because of the Warrens, because of the dude from Ghost Adventure, the people who have come and challenged this doll. This energy is all out there, and where is it going to go? It goes to the doll. Originally, Annabelle was completely different, but it got the way that it did because of people and because of people's energies and because of beliefs. And it's almost a sad story that here was Annabelle, who was used to begin with, was used, and now is a fraction of the self. She's no longer what she began, except a tiny little sliver of a fraction, because all of these people put their energies into her, and good and bad, and people use energies. And it makes me sad. I didn't think that this reading would actually make me sad. It makes me sad for this, whatever this is, because it was created and it started from sickness, and now it's just an out of control beast. It's not out of control, but what is out of control is people feeding into the phenomenon that is Annabelle. My advice to everybody is to stop doing that, because this is what she feels like. This is exactly what I feel like she feels like. She feels like monsters underneath the Christ tree, basically. I don't know what a Christ tree is, but something that started off in a spiritual light is now so dark, and she only has a sliver of this left, so she's being full of this. My wish for Annabelle is for her to be freed, because people are keeping her in a certain spot because of ignorance, because of fear. I could be wrong. This could be a very evil entity, but I do not pick that up. I don't. I don't pick that up at all. I just pulled the same card. That's why I'm not showing you. No, she's actually a lot more peaceful. This really makes me sad, because she's not only peaceful, but she's knowledgeable. Just to show you, I pulled this card already. I accidentally pulled the same card, so pulling the same card doesn't necessarily mean anything. It just means that she's being watched. We all know she's being watched. So if I'm wrong, sorry, but I think Annabelle needs to be freed. I think that she's had enough damage done to her, and I don't know if you can ever revert back to what she was in the beginning. But I hope that she can be, because this is a lot. And the people who are watching Annabelle right now, they are responsible for her well-being, and I don't want them to continue to take advantage of her. So that's my wish. That's my hope. All right, guys, so I hope that you enjoyed this reading about Annabelle the doll. And if you liked it, let me know. If you want to know about some other creepy dolls, let me know down in the description box or the comment box. Otherwise, I will see you guys later. Remember, every single day is a gift. Use your time wisely, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye for now.